So welcome to this video. In this video, what we are going to see is we are going to see something called as fetch API. We are going to see something called as fetch API. What this is fetch API? Fetch API, it is a thing from which you can hit a request to the server. Okay, you can hit a request to the server. We can say it request hitting to the server, and we can get the data from the online sources. So this is how we do the fetch API. So for this fetch API, we need to call the APIs. So let us start how we can make this. So for this, we can go to the our web development folder in the desktop. In the desktop, we can go to the web dev folder, and here in the here what we can do, we can go to the, let us say, JS folder. In JS folder, what I'll do, I'll just right click. In the JS folder, I'll right click and open with code. Right click and open with code. So you can see I have my VS Code already launched here. So in JS here, I can just click on the index.html, and let us make one thing called as, after local storage, we can just have something called as fetch API. So what I'll do, in JS folder, I'll create one file. Let us say I will create one file called as fetch api.js. Enter. Then I can just link this file here. Script. I can just write script. We can have script script source, and we can give the fetch API here. Fetch API, it is not directly here. We need to go to the JS folder and fetch api.js. Then if you save this and right click and open this with the live server, you can see we'll get a browser open, and we can see our app running live. So you can wait for a while and our app runs successfully. So you can see it works. Then what is the next thing we can do? We can come to here fetch API, and we can just write console.log learning fetch API. Learning fetch API. So what did this fetch API means? So for that, let us save this once, and we go here, and if we right click, if we inspect, you can see the console window. Okay, means here in console window you can see learning fetch API. Before learning to fetch API, we can see what is this fetch API is. So if I just write fetch API on the Google, fetch API, if you hit enter, you can see it provides an interface for providing the fetching the resources across the network. Means from the different networks we are able to get the different resources. If you click on this, let us see, you will get a different thing. Before fetch API, XML HTTP requests were used, but now they are not used. This is replaced by the fetch API. So let me just show you the syntax for this. You can also use the Ajax and jQueries for this, but let us say we are using standard fetch method. If you use standard fetch method, you can click here. You can just have a look for this. So what we'll do, we'll go to the JSON placeholder. I am just going to this website. What I'll do is, you can just see we are having a URL here. Okay, we are having a URL here. What this URL is having means this is an API. This URL is an API. It will just give you, let us say if I hit enter, when you hit this URL, you can see here, when I hit this URL, I will get a data. Which kind of data I am getting? I am getting a user ID, I am getting a title, I am getting completed false. This is the one to do I am getting. Let us say I don't want one to do. If I just remove this one from here, and if I hit enter, okay, let us say if I hit enter, I don't need one, and I close this, and if I hit enter, I'll just copy it. Yeah, you can see now I got an array of objects. This is how I got an array of objects. Different user IDs, ID 1, 2, 3. I'm getting different IDs. So you can see up to, I think up to, there are multiple IDs you are getting from here. Means this is the API response. Means when you hit this URL, you are getting this kind of data. This is just a simple JSON object. Okay, this is something called as JSON object, JavaScript object notation. Let us say I want to use this data in my website. I want to use this data in my website. So how can I use this? For that, let us say you want a specific to do. You can just hit a URL. Let us say 2. I need to enter. you'll get a second to do. If you don't pass any number here, if you hit enter directly, you will get a different kind of data here. So let us see what we can do from this. So for that I need to copy this URL. Okay, I will copy this URL and I need to come to our code editor. In code editor, to use fetch API, I can just directly as fetch. Okay, and fetch, I just need to input the URL. Okay, I want to fetch these things. Okay, I want to fetch these things. Okay, slash. Then if it is fetched successfully, then I need to call a function called as then. Okay, then I will get a something called as response. Okay, what I will do, I will just make an arrow function response.json I will use, and after this also I will have a something called as then. Okay, then I will get something called as data, and you can just response, or else you can just console.log this data. Console.log, I can just write the data here. So now if you see, if I just save this file and if I go to the our code, you can see I got a 200 records directly on my console. So now you can do anything with these records. You can see I got the thing 0 1 2 3, I got the completed false and all this false. I can just have this. So let us see how we can use this in our URL. So see, if you come here and if you go to your website, there is nothing now. If you see your console, I can just, let us say, I can just make it a on the dock side of this, and what I'll do, I will just refresh this website. Let us say I want to refresh this website. So here you can see you get a different thing here. Means you get all the data here. Let us say we change the URL. Let us say we change the URL. I only want first record. If I hit a 1, now if you save this and if you go to your website, you can see you are getting only one data now. So now this is how we can get the data from this website. Means we are going to this website and we are getting the data. So there are many other URLs. Let us say we want to get the post. So these are the different posts we are having. The URL is JSON type and /post. If I copy this URL and with the help of fetch API, I can just replace this URL from the to do. Let us just duplicate this line. Okay, let us duplicate this line for a while, or else we can duplicate this full one. I will just duplicate it down. Okay, and here instead of this URL data, I can just pass this one. Now it will get me the post from the URL. So here if you come, you save this and come here to this website, you can see we got one user ID and 100 posts we are getting. So we can get the different data from this side. So what we can do with this data, we can make the inner HTML and we can loop over it and we can get the show the data on the page. Let us say we use something called as, we are having this ID, right? ID friends list. So let us copy this only. We are having ID friend list. So what I'll do, instead of console logging the data, I can just control X this, and here I can just use document dot. Okay, let us make something called as we can comment this out. We don't want to show to do. Let us say we focus on the posts for now. So let us make we make something called as let HTML equal to, we can have something this way, a simple basic HTML. Okay, for now HTML is this, and what I can do, I can get the document dot get element by ID, and here I will get friends list. I can check the spelling. Friends list I am getting, and here in friends list I get the friends list. What I can do, I can go on to the data dot for each. I want to go to the for each. Okay, data dot for each. I want to go to the each element of the data, and then each element I am getting, what is the thing I am getting in each element. Let us try to console.log this. Console.log, I want to check what is element is having, each element is having. If you come here, you can see we get everything we got here. So let us say what we are getting multiple things. If we open anything, I am getting body, I am getting ID, I am getting title and user ID. So what I want, let us say we take ID and title for moment. We don't want any other thing, we just want ID and title. So for that we can come here and if I just want to print dot id comma element dot title, now you see you will not get printed full object, you will just only printed, you see I got id and title of this printed. I don't want this to be printed here, I want this in my page, I want this in my page. So for that, what I can do, I can come here and let us say I am having this data, right? So let us say I will make one html, let current data, any variable you can take, current data is equal to, you can make one thing, and in this li we can have, and we can have something called as a b tag for our reference, and here I can write element id. Okay, I can write element dot id, I can close the b tag. Next I can have the element title, I can write one space and I can just say dollar element title, element title. So here I can just have the current data. So this data will be looped for each time, and I will just increment this data to the html equal to html plus current data. Means this html will have the full data of 100 records now. Now next thing what I'll do, I'll just cut this line from here, Control X, and I'll just paste this line here, Control V, and I will make the inner html equal to html. Means now all the data has been looped and all data is stored in this html, and I can just set this html here. If you save here and if you come to here, it is fetching, because there is no console data, you can see we are getting the all things printed here. You can see although we have li items, right, that's why we are also getting numbers, and this is our id and this is our title. So this is how we are using api, fetch api, to show the data on my page from me other resource. So this is about fetch api.